following announcement has been paid for by the new Howl Order.
Whether the team is giving us the highest of highs or the bluest of blues, we'll cover it all here on Commanders Nightly News. I, of course, am your host, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to tonight's lead story. So this is something that was starting to create a little bit of a buzz. I thought it was getting noisy and it needed to be quieted down. And I'm actually happy one of the minority owners slammed the door shut on this whole conversation surrounding the name Redskins, because there were a lot of fans that were starting to get their hopes back up, and this thing will never heal. It's like a cut that is very deep, and you've put a Band-Aid solution on it, and you keep ripping it off, and it's never going to heal that way. You just have to come to grips in terms with the fact that Redskins will never be the name again. And I've been trying to convey that message to a lot of you. I've been getting DMs from some of you like, hey, look how many signatures that this petition has. And I'm like, it could get 5 million signatures. It doesn't matter. You can't go back to Redskins. Once they changed it, there was never, ever any going back. And a lot of people simply just didn't want to hear that, not from someone like myself. What do I know, right? You're just a fan like me. They can change the name back. Okay, fine. From a business perspective, if you just think about it, it just doesn't make any sense. It's damn near impossible at this point. And so it was refreshing for Mitchell Rales, who was attending a John Riggins educational function. He spoke there, and I'm going to just tell you, Mitchell Rales, one of the minority owners, is locked in. He had a couple of quotables from that speech that he gave at John Riggins' event that I thought were really eye-opening, like, hey, he gets it. He talked about Sam Howell. He's like, look, we got a really good team, but we don't know what the quarterback is, right? We got to see what this guy is. I'm excited about him. I'm excited about what he's capable of doing, but we got to see. That's fair, right? That's how most of you probably feel, and I don't disagree with any of that. He said, look, FedEx Field, 60,000, we're going to be sold out. You know what's great about this sellout? The Arizona Cardinals don't travel. And I just told you guys that yesterday, like, hey, the Cardinals don't travel. So it's not like Buffalo in 2 weeks where the Bills Mafia will show up 10, 15,000 strong at FedEx in 2 weeks. The Cardinals aren't coming to the game. Their fans won't be there. It will literally be 55, 60,000 Washington fans in attendance. He's like, these players have never seen a sold-out FedEx Field before with fans there cheering for them, right? Never seen it. So he's locked in. He gets it. But the quote that got the most run, and rightfully so, got the most attention, was the quote that he had in reference to the Redskins name. And he said, look, that ship has sailed. The name Redskins isn't coming back. So he slammed the door shut, which I thought was important because there were so many fans starting to get their hopes up and they just needed to be let down, right? Let's just end this speculation right now. The name's not coming back. And I've tried to tell people this individually who have hit me up. I've told you guys as a group, the name's not coming back. But I told you after the first time I heard Josh Harris speak, that they're going to change the name. Remember, I had the seven biggest takeaways from his presser, or like 3 or 4 or 5, whatever it was. And I said, the biggest takeaway is they're going to change the name. That's how I felt listening to him talk in that moment. They're going to change the name. And I still believe that wholeheartedly. They're going to change this name. To what? I don't know. So now what the Redskins supporters, the people that were pushing the agenda of trying to get the name back, now they've switched course because they know now they've lost that battle. So now they're like, hey, well, at least can we get the uniforms back to the way they were? Can we get the logo back? You're not getting the logo back either. There will be no Indian imagery associated with this team moving forward. So you can cancel Christmas on that as well. Can you get the uniforms back? Can you get the Washington football team look? Maybe they can get something like that and recreate that again and bring that look back. That's something they'll probably play around with. But as far as I'm concerned, this is what you should be focused in on. And I can't tell you how to feel and how to think, but live in the moment. This is what I've been trying to promote this entire time is, look, we don't know what the name's going to be in 3 years. We don't know what the situation's going to be, you know, with the name, the logo, the uniforms, none of that. But why obsess over something you have no control over? Just live in the present. Live in the moment. Live in today. We got a good football team. This roster is a quality roster. We think we have ourselves a quarterback. You think you have a quarterback. I know we have a quarterback. Okay? We got an offensive coordinator that we're excited about. All right? We got a defense that we think has a chance to be really good. Just live in the moment and enjoy this ride, this season. Okay? We got a football game we'll be playing in 3 days. Live in the moment. Don't worry about what the name's going to be 2-3 years from now. Don't worry about what this team will look like. We've been through so many changes, you should almost be jaded to that already. But at this point, just enjoy the ride. I think this is going to be a hell of a season, a hell of a ride. Enjoy every single aspect of it. Instead of worrying about what this team will be 2-3 years down the road, just worry about, we're the Commanders right now, just in case you didn't know. And if you don't like the name, just call them Washington. It's not going to kill you to just call them Washington. But just live in the moment. That's what I've been preaching, and I'm going to continue to preach. All right? So Mitchell Rales, bravo, golf clap for Mitchell Rales for slamming the door shut on that whole conversation, because we all know the name isn't coming back. So deal with it, okay? And I know some of you don't want to hear that. It is what it is. In other news, we heard from the coordinators today, as Thursdays usually are, coordinator day. We heard from both Eric Bieniemy, offensive coordinator, and Jack Del Rio, defensive coordinator. We'll talk about what those two had to say today. In addition to that, we have the injury report for Thursday, looking good for the good guys. We'll talk about that. But before we get to any of that, a lot of you had told me about episode 7 of the Commander's Log, and I had a chance to check it out, and I told you I was going to watch it, and I enjoyed it. You guys know I'm going to give you a recap as I've done for the previous 6 episodes, so I won't say a ton today on this particular show. I'll just say I enjoyed the episode thoroughly, and I really enjoyed the Reverend's words at the very end. We'll talk more about that episode, but I'll just leave you with this thought. The energy that I had last night, and I was talking a lot about the excitement that's been permeating the city and this team in particular, and the players and the coaching staff, and you can hear it in their voices. You kind of saw it play out on that particular episode of Commander's Log. But in any event, let's get to the injury report for week number 1. Both teams, starting with the good guys. And I think this is why they signed Jamison Crowder to the practice squad, because Dax Milne, who is the primary punt returner, not going to play, it looks like. He didn't practice Wednesday, didn't practice Thursday, and so as of right now, he looks like he's going to be out. They don't want Jahan Dotson back there. If you remember, we looked at the depth chart, and the next guy up in line to return punts is Jahan Dotson. They definitely don't want to put him back there, so it looks like Jamison Crowder is going to be up, active, in returning punts this weekend, which scares the shit out of me. I can't speak for you. It scares the living daylights out of me, because we know of the struggles he's had returning punts in his career, catching, just fielding the ball. Forget about, returning them, just fielding the damn football. So I'm nervous. I'm not going to lie to you. And I don't like the fact that he's wearing 83. Can somebody get him to 80? I know that Curtis Hodges has. Get that shit off of Curtis Hodges' back. Give him 83. Give JC Ice 80. You know they're not going to do that. Anyway, so it looks like you're going to have some JC Ice this week. Maybe 83 will give him a different flavor back there, returning punts, and maybe he won't drop one of them. All we can do is cross our fingers and hope that we don't have any miscues from him. Terry McLaurin, this is the biggest takeaway, though, here, is I don't know if you saw the clip, but I posted it. Washington posted a bunch of clips of Terry back on the field, practice field yesterday. He looked good. I was like, shit, he doesn't look like anything's wrong. Well, he practiced fully today. Terry's playing on Sunday, guys. El Capitan is playing on Sunday, which means it's scary hours for the Arizona Cardinals. Chase Young, neck limited still. So, again, we're still waiting on the clearance from the doctors. Hopefully he gets that at some point, Friday, Saturday. Really don't care as long as it happens before Sunday. Want to see him out there. He's ready to go. He's chomping at the bit. Hopefully it gets done and he's able to play in week 1 versus the Arizona Cardinals. And Benjamin St. Juste, full participant yesterday, full participant today. I have no doubts he'll be out there with the ankle injury. He suffered this all the way back in preseason game number 1 versus Cleveland. He's had a full month to recover from that. I surmise that he'll be fine, and the full practices this week kind of, allude that he'll be ready on Sunday. So not really too concerned about Benjamin St. Juste. As far as the Arizona Cardinals are concerned, Kelvin Beachum, their starting left tackle, did not practice with a hand injury. Doesn't mean he won't play. It's a hand, so they can wrap that thing up depending on the severity of the injury. Obviously, you need your hands as a tackle, but we've seen tackles play with clubs before. You just can't hold. They'll figure out a way to wrap it so that he still has the use of his thumb. Now, if we're talking about a thumb injury, it could change things. We'll see. Right now, he's up in the air. Did not practice. Marquise Brown, their best receiver, their number one wide receiver, dealing with a hamstring injury. We know with quick twitch, fast athletes like Marquise Brown, the hamstring is very important. Don't know how long he's had this injury for. He could have sustained this the first week of training camp and he's fine, and they're just taking it slow with him this week. He could have done this 2 weeks ago. Who knows? But limited on Wednesday, limited again today, so we'll just keep an eye on him. Zach Ertz is going to play. He's coming off of the ACL tear from last year. They're going to just work him back slow, but he'll be out there Sunday. I have no doubts about that. And Dennis Gardeck, their starting defensive end, it was a full participant Wednesday, full participant Thursday. The assumption is he'll be ready to go on Sunday, week 1 versus Washington. So as we get to the coordinators and what they had to say, we start with EB. And anytime EB speaks, I listen. So I can't speak for you. I'm all ears when EB is preaching to the masses. So he had a sermon today, and I was just blown away by his perspective on everything. He's just so, everything he says is so thoughtful. You could tell there's a lot of years of just taking in information, and he's a quick study, and he's able to come in and really assess the room quickly and then impose his message, his will on, the people that he's there to coach. And he leaves a lasting impression. We've heard it from guys like Adrian Peterson when he was in Minnesota as his running backs coach. We've heard it from guys like Maurice Jones-Drew, who went to UCLA, who came to UCLA because of Eric Bieniemy. And we've heard so many guys talk about the lasting impact Eric Bieniemy had on them in their careers. Same thing with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and, guys like that. So I'm really excited about what he's going to bring to this offense, the discipline, the preparedness. That's the thing that I always felt like we were lacking, is that I always felt like we didn't have the preparedness that it takes to be a playoff team under Ron Rivera and Scott Turner in particular. I always felt like we lacked that edge of knowing, hey, this is what they're going to do and this is what we're going to do. We're going to have answers for everything. And just in case they show us some shit that we weren't prepared for, we'll have an answer for that too. Something that they didn't think was coming. We're sitting looking dead red fastball, but they throw us an off-speed pitch, and you're out in front, you're going to still get a piece of that bitch. You're going to foul it off, and you're going to live to fight another, pitch, right? You're going to give yourself another pitch to hit. And the next one might be the home run, right? But we're not going to get fooled to the point where we strike out. And Eric Bieniemy has us prepared. And that's what he's like, look, we know that they got all this stuff going on. But guess what? We had time to prepare. I looked at what he was doing when he was back in Minnesota under Mike Zimmer. I looked at what he was doing when he was in Indianapolis. I took some of the things he was doing for Philadelphia. We prepared. I looked at, all the things that they got going on. We looked at all of that stuff. We're prepared, okay? And we'll be ready. And if they throw us a curveball, we will adjust accordingly. But we will be ready. And that's the thing I love about Eric Bieniemy. He said something that I tried to explain to y'all. I know it was kind of convoluted when I tried to explain it to y'all, but this is that psychology background coming out of me. I said, look, Sam is a funny dude. I don't know him personally, but I can just tell. I know guys like him, all right? He's a quiet guy, kind of reserved, but when you get to know him, similar to Daron Payne, I guarantee you, and I don't know him, Adam from Eve, but I guarantee you Daron Payne is a funny-ass dude, right? He's just an introvert, and he's quiet, and so if I don't really know you, you can see he's opening up to the media a little bit more because he's gotten to know some of these guys. If I don't know you, I don't really rock with you like that, right? You're not going to get too much out of me. Sam is the same way. He's got a personality, you can tell. He likes to laugh, but again, he's gonna be a little reserved with the media because I don't know y'all and I don't know what your agenda is. A lot of people been trying to tear me down, so I don't know y'all. I don't know what y'all gonna say. If I give y'all something, what y'all gonna try to do with that? You gotta earn my trust first before I start letting my guard down and keying with y'all and stuff. And Eric Bieniemy's like, look, Sam's got a personality. I don't know if y'all have seen it or not, and he laughs because they haven't seen much of it, But he's like, Sam's a funny guy, and I can tell. So there's a relationship there, and Sam talked about that yesterday. EB talked about it today. He's like, yeah, there's a relationship. And I'm excited to see what this kid can do because I know he's got the ability to make it happen. And he just talked about Terry as a leader. He's like, look, we knew that there was going to be a relationship there. Terry came up to him during, after the presser, and they had that little conversation, and it was recorded, and we got to hear it. We know that there's going to be a strong bond between those two because I think he sees a lot of himself in Terry McLaurin. He even said, Terry, don't tell him I said this, but he's got a future as a coach in this league if he wants, or, overall, college, whatever, if he wants to be that because he's so smart and he's able to communicate well to others. So there was a lot from the EB presser, but just like with Sam, the overarching theme was, hey, we out here to win every single game, and we're going to prepare to put ourselves in a position to win every single game. And as he said, we're going to drag ourselves across the finish line collectively. Drag our asses across the finish line collectively. I wish he would just add this in first. Because you can drag your ass collectively across the finish line, but it could be second, which means you're the first loser. I want to drag our asses collectively across the finish line first. That means we win. But that's his thing. We're going to drag. He said it at his introductory press conference. He said it multiple times during the summer. He said it again today. And he told the media, you're going to hear me say this very often, drag our asses across the finish line collectively as a group. And I just want to add one word in there, first. So we heard from Jack Del Rio, who was nice and quaint. You know how Jack keeps it really straight and to the point, succinct. And so Jack wasn't really, EB's presser was 15 minutes, Jack's was 7, right? Jack ain't out here to be. They tried to ask him some specifics about the zone match that they started playing last year, and Jack's like, look, I'm not getting into the specifics, man. I just tell you that, Chase is chomping at the bit to get out there. Him and Montez need to do what Duran did last year, and that's finish. Duran needs to continue to do that this year, finish. That's the goal. As far as we got dogs up front, we got guys that we are confident in that can disrupt. Now you got to finish the deal, right? So he talked about that. He talked about, the excitement for week 1. EB talked about it. Like, if you're not nervous, then you're not, it doesn't matter to you and you're not prepared. Like, you should be nervous. I can speak to that. I have no problem speaking in front of people, but I get nervous every time I do it. Not like this in this setting, but in front of people, right? When you have eyeballs actually staring at you, but it doesn't mean I'm not excited to do it, not anxious, doesn't mean that it's not something that I'm excited about, but I get nervous, right? I'm not uncomfortable, just nervous energy, right? So Jack talked about, this defense and having to prepare for all of the different things. Josh Dobbs at Tennessee last year, Cleveland, all of that stuff. He's like, yeah, no, we ready for whatever they try to throw at us. And again, if they catch us slipping, we'll adjust accordingly and we'll keep it pushing. But that's all you can do is, put as much energy in to being ready as you can, and then let the chips fall where they may. Right? So he's gonna have his unit ready come Sunday. We'll see how ready they are, but they'll be ready to go out there and destroy this Arizona Cardinals football team. I'm excited about what I think the defense is going to be able to do. Let's go ahead and head behind enemy lines as we talk about this matchup versus the Arizona Cardinals. I know I've been talking cold hard cash all week, and I was about to say it's been borderline disrespectful. Ain't no borderline about it. I've been straight disrespectful to the Arizona Cardinals. It's Thursday, so now the disrespect stops. I can be as disrespectful as I want Monday through Wednesday, okay? And generally, once the season kicks off, we'll be so, locked into what happened on Sunday, on Monday, and Tuesday that you're not even going to start turning your attention to the next opponent until Wednesday. That's generally how I operate. But because there was no opponent last week, I was able to be disrespectful Tuesday, Wednesday, and, some of Thursday. But now that we're here on Thursday's episode, it's time to stop the disrespect, turn that into respect for the opponent, respect the game, understand that, hey, it's any given Sunday in the NFL. Anybody can get it anytime. And so I understand we have not arrived yet. We are not the Kansas City Chiefs. We are not the Buffalo Bills. We are not the Cincinnati Bengals. We don't just show up and put 40 on somebody's skull and keep it pushing. So with that said, we got to respect the Arizona Cardinals, even though we think they suck. We got to respect who they are and understand that if we don't come with our A game, if we don't do the right things, they will be in this game with a chance to win. And that's not what we're looking to do. So how do you put yourself in a position to not have to sweat it out at the end? I think if you're defending Arizona, the first thing you got to go into this game thinking is they want to run the football with whomever's at running back. And we know they've got a strong runner in James Conner. He's physical, yards after contact. He doesn't go down easy. He's a menace in short yardage situations. Down by the goal line, he's damn near impossible to stop. So again, understand what you're dealing with here. All right. So they're going to platoon backs in, but he's going to be the main guy triggering that run game. If you're looking to cut the head off of this Arizona Cardinals snake, that's where it begins with him and the run game. Because if they can run the game, what they're going to try to effectively do is shorten this game. When you aren't better than your opponent, if you're the Arizona Cardinals, every single week, you're going into ball games looking to shorten the game. You don't want to play a longer game. And this goes for any other sport, right? If you're in college basketball and you know you're playing against a powerhouse team, Villanova against Georgetown in the finals in 84, whatever year it was, perfect example. 85, I think it was. Perfect example, right? They knew they weren't better than Patrick Ewing, Sleepy Floyd, and all those guys. So what do? They shortened the damn game, right? They shortened the game. They ate up the shot clock every time they went down, got a high percentage shot, and they kept it low scoring because they couldn't run up and down the floor with Georgetown. They didn't have the talent to do it. Ed Pickney and company knew what they had to do, and they did it. And they executed one of the greatest upsets in college basketball history, right? If you're trying to beat a team that's better than you, you're trying to make the game as short as possible by running the football, bleeding the clock. If Washington doesn't have it on offense, how can they be explosive and dynamic if their offense is on the sidelines? So the easiest way to cut the head off of this Arizona Cardinals snake is to stop their damn run game and dare one of these. I don't give a shit who's back there at quarterback. Dare one of these bastards to beat us. Okay? Whether it's Josh Dobbs or it's Clayton Tune, I dare you to beat us with one of these dudes. If they sling it 40 some odd times and they beat us, you tip your cap and then you turn around and you say, what the hell is wrong with you? How did you let this happen? It shouldn't. But you don't want them managing the game and staying in short yardage situations and allowing them to play ahead of the sticks. You don't want them to be in third and threes, and we'll discuss more of this tomorrow when we get to some of the keys to the game. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but understand that the Cardinals are an NFL team. So don't just think they're going to show up, lay down in week one, and we're going to trample all over them. I hope that happens, but you can't assume that that's going to happen. Those guys get checks too. And it's not week 13. They're not 1-11. Okay? They're not defeated yet. Okay, their football souls have not been snatched from them yet. That might happen in 5 or 6 weeks when they're 0-5 or 6. But right now, everybody's got the same record. They're feeling damn good about themselves. They've put in training camp work, and they're ready to go out and show that they can compete. You got to take that life from them, and the best way I see that happening offensively for them is by snatching that run game away. That's the crutch, right? We don't want them to lean on the crutch of the run game. Take that from them and force the quarterback, whomever it is. We think it's going to be Joshua Dobbs. They could be playing mind games with us, and it could be Clayton Tune. I don't give a shit who it is, honestly. They both can get this work. But we don't want to give that quarterback, whomever he is, any crutch to lean on. Make them stand on their own too and do what they got to do to help the Cardinals win. I don't think it's going to be enough. So that's what I think the defense has to do to the Cardinals offense. And for us, I just think we got to take care of the football, don't turn it over, and then that goes for special teams as well. And we'll talk about this more tomorrow at greater detail. And two, you get into the red zone, you get opportunities to score, you have to score touchdowns. That's how you put teams away. That's how you create distance in a ball game. You allow field goals to be the story early, and now they look up, and even though we've dominated them with 2 lengthy drives, you know what that reminds me of? The Giants game in New York last year. How many times did we go up and down the field on the Giants and then have penalties, undo a drive, not come away with any points, or kick a field goal, and all of a sudden you look up, and it's 10-0 instead of 14 or 17-0, and then the Giants scored 2 touchdowns touchdowns, and boom, boom, just like that, we're in a dogfight. And in the second half, we move it up and down the field. They didn't even score a single point after the Heineke fumble on the first possession of the third quarter. They didn't score another point after that Heineke fumble delivered them a gift wrap touchdown. After that, we dominated the second half, went up and down the field. We had nothing to show for it. Why? Because we self-destructed. You can't do that. You leave the door ajar, and the Cardinals are going to think there's life. And they're going to like, oh, maybe we can go in there. Maybe there's a win on the other side of that door. Nah, it ain't that type of party. Slam that door shut, okay, by scoring touchdowns and force an anemic offense to have to keep pace. Because if they're starting Josh Dobbs after only being there for 10 days working with this team, if they're starting Clayton Tune, a rookie who looked horrible in the preseason, it's going to be hard for them to keep up offensively, scoring points. So you can't make mistakes that make it easy on them to score points as an offense, and you can't leave points on the field by leaving drives open like we did last year. Part of the allure of Eric Bieniemy coming on board is the fact that he is supposed to get us in the end zone and up that point per game total from 18.9 to something in the mid-20s, high 20s is what we're really shooting for. But just get us to the mid-20s. You'll win a lot more games that way. So that's behind enemy lines. So the last order of business today is I got tickets to give away. So good luck to all of you. Remember, you have to be a member of the MOBB. You use the hashtag bloodbath. And so good luck. Here we go.
Make it slow down. You make it slow down. Everything is true. Nothing any longer. You make it slow down. You make it slow down.
So congratulations to Ice Queen 580. You have won the first giveaway of the season. 2 tickets to the Arizona Cardinals Washington Commanders game at FedEx Field, 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon. 3 ways to hit me up. You can hit me up via DM on IG. Twitter is the easiest way to get at me. If you're having any issues, a lot of people say, oh, I can't DM you. They're stopping me from DMing you. If you're having any issues, then hit me with a regular tweet. Just at me. I'll go in and I'll initiate conversation with you and we'll get it done that way. Or you can just email me, LouieTeeNetwork@gmail.com. Those are your 3 ways. DM me on IG, DM me on Twitter. If you can't get into my DMs on Twitter for whatever reason, just at me and say, hey, Ice Queen here. And then I'll verify that it's you. And then we'll get to the business of transferring you the tickets and getting you to the game on Sunday. You've got until midnight tomorrow, all right, to get that done. If not, then I'm going looking for Suds. You're the runner-up here, and I'm coming looking for you all day tomorrow up until 6 p.m. Can't find you on Saturday up until 6. I'm going after my guy Metaphor, and I know I can get in contact with him, and I'll get him the 2 tickets. He's in 3rd place here. So congratulations to Ice Queen. The tickets are yours. All you got to do is get at the kid. So with that said, thank you to all the members of the mob and all of you who participated. And you'll have another chance in 2 weeks when the Bills come to town, more likely than not. And so with that said, that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on the Commanders Nightly News. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. We got football tonight. Oh my God, we got real professional tackle football on the television. You know where you can find me when that game meets its conclusion. And also, guess what else we have? We got Bad Dog and Law going head to head week 1. They're doing it over on the NFC East Super Friends channel tonight. Go check them out. That's going to be a hell of a stream there as those 2 do battle before their 2 teams do battle. Go in there and kick some shit around. make it known that we in the building, and also give your thoughts on what you think is going to happen in that Cowboys-Giants game. So head over to the NFC East Super Friends channel and enjoy that live stream that they'll be having tonight as well. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. Until next time, you guys, take care. Have a good one.
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel. There's the snap, hand to Riggins. Good hole. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The